Hi kids, I'm Anthony DeStefano, and this is a friend of mine, a little stuffed camel. And notice she's wearing an awful lot of jewelry. The reason I'm holding her is because I'd like to read you a children's book I wrote that has a camel in it just like this one. It's called Roxy the Ritzy Camel, and it's about a subject that's very important: being generous by sharing the things you have or even giving them away. The story is actually based on something that Jesus said in the Gospels. And after I finish reading, I'll have a brief word to say to you adults who are watching too, because this book isn't just for kids. Roxy the Ritzy Camel, written by Anthony DeStefano, illustrated by Richard Cowdrey. Roxy the camel was ritzy and vain. She thought she was gorgeous, but really was plain. Just a tad snooty and just a bit plump, the fine food she ate gave her quite a big rump. But oh, was she ritzy, as ritzy could be. She loved jam and crumpets and afternoon tea. With jewels round her neck and earrings of pearls and ruby red lipstick like all the rich girls. She had a big mansion, a butler and maid, a wardrobe of furs, fancy leather and suede. She lived in a desert, as all camels do, which can be delightful, but difficult too. There's sand in the desert, no flowers or trees, no cool windy weather, not even a breeze. And worst thing of all, no clouds fill the sky, so rain never falls, and everything's dry. No water for the bathtub, no water for the sink, no water for the swimming pool, no water left to drink, no water left for Roxy, not even one drop. And when there's no water, life comes to a stop. So Roxy decided to find a new home, to leave her big mansion and go off alone. She'd heard of a city all her life long, ruled by a king, wise, good, and strong. A great king of kings, loving and true. His home was a paradise, shiny and new. A bright, sparkling city of beauty untold, with walls made of emeralds and streets paved with gold. And flowing from rivers and streams everywhere was life-giving, crystal-clear water to spare. But before Roxy left, she packed and got dressed. And being so ritzy, she just packed the best. Scarves made of silk, hundreds of shoes, a room full of pocketbooks, so hard to choose. Coco Camel makeup, Calvin Camel jeans, bags of gold and diamonds, enough for several queens. She loved all her riches with all of her heart, and tying them round her, she turned to depart. But out in the desert, there's not any road, and traveling's not easy with such a big load. So Roxy grew tired and weary and weak. Her mouth was so dry she barely could speak. For 40 long days and 40 long nights, she carried her bundles with no hope in sight. By the time she arrived at the great city's wall, she felt so exhausted she thought she would fall. But at least she was here and set to go in. Her wondrous new life was about to begin. She ran to the gate and tried to go through, but the hole was too tiny. It just wouldn't do. She pushed and she wiggled without any luck. She squeezed in so tight her bottom got stuck. She just couldn't fit. There wasn't a doubt. So Roxy reluctantly backed her way out. "It's not right and not fair," she moaned and she cried. "This gate wasn't made for a camel so wide." But just at that moment, from way up above, there came flying downward a little white dove. The dove fluttered softly around Roxy's head, then finally landed and quietly said, "Listen, my friend, I tell you it's true. You're too overloaded with bags to get through. So lighten your load by sharing your things. Give away all your jewels and your gems and your rings." "What's that you say?" the shocked camel said. "Give away all my things? I'd rather be dead." "No, thank you," said Roxy. "I'll try it once more. But this time I'll charge like a big wild boar." So backing away from where the gate stood, she started to run as fast as she could. She hit the stone gate with quite a loud thump, then shot like a rubber band right on her rump. "Oh no," sobbed poor Roxy, "I'll never get through. Oh, what can I try? I haven't a clue." "Please listen to me," repeated the dove. "Please do what I say," he asked her with love. "Your riches don't matter. Their value's not great. They're useless to you once you pass through this gate. It's nice to have things, and they could be good, as long as you treat them the way that you should. But you're being too selfish and not very smart to love them with all of your soul and your heart. That kind of love's for heaven alone. It's not for the things that you buy or you own. So share all your things or give them away. Listen and you'll be so happy today." Deep down in her heart, the rich camel knew she loved her possessions too much, it was true. And so she decided to give it a try, to take all her treasures and kiss them goodbye. She made up her mind to give up her things, to put all her faith in the great King of Kings. So down by the road, she gave to some mules her bags filled with gold and big sparkling jewels. She gave to a fox, whose fur was a mess, her frilly white socks and bright silky dress. She gave to a slow and lonely old tortoise a diamond tiara that really looked gorgeous. She gave to some snakes, not known for their looks, her collection of hats and posh pocketbooks. She gave to a lion, off taking a snooze, her bows and her braids and her boxes of shoes. And when she was done, she noticed that she was so much more happy and so much more free. Her heart felt so light, her soul felt so bright. She danced and she floated like a butterfly in flight. Then squinting her eyes, she started to trot. She said to the dove, "Let's give this a shot." She rushed to the gate, but still it was tight. She squished and she pushed with all of her might. The little dove just watched, then flew around and said, "Try bowing down and going in on bended knees instead." "That's the way," he cheered her. "You're almost free and clear. All you animals, get behind and push her on her rear." They pushed and shoved together. They poked and prodded too. Then suddenly there was a pop, and Roxy made it through. Once inside the city, the camel looked around. She couldn't breathe or quite believe the beauty she had found. Valleys, vineyards, mountains, trees rising in the air, lakes and rivers, streams and seas, and water everywhere. Best of all, the king came forth and welcomed Roxy in. He said to her, "Well done, my friend. Your joy can now begin. No more thirsting, no more tears, no more pain or strife. In this land of happiness, forever you'll have life." And all the city gathered round and gave a thunderous cheer for Ritzy Roxy, rich with love, at last had made it here. Did you like that? I hope so. You know, kids, the meaning of this story is very simple. Just like Roxy the Ritzy Camel, You have to be generous with the things you possess. You have to share your toys and games and books and candy and stuffed animals. You can't be selfish or stingy. Otherwise, all the things you have will just be like heavy weights and chains tying you down, and you won't ever be able to be really free or happy in life. And the same thing goes for you adults, too. You can't ever let yourself become too attached to material things. Hey, even if you have $1 billion, you know that you could still lose everything like that. One serious health problem can change your life and your priorities in a flash. So you have to try not to be too attached to worldly possessions, and instead try to be more attached to God. I'm Anthony DeStefano, and I'll see you next time.